One. All right, we am live.
What's good?
What's going on, everybody? Howdy. I don't know why. It's weird. All right, guys. So Sunday live stream, but a very different Sunday live stream today, as it's actually a Nerdcast one-on-one. And I haven't done one of these in a little while, and I haven't done a live stream one in quite some time. But today in the Nerdcast, I have Tim K over here of Tim K's Nerdcrate. A YouTuber extraordinaire. Hey, your stuff looks more professional than mine, so I can say that.
Well, on that note, your picture in here looks way better than mine. Way better than mine.
Well, good. So when we pick up this stream after this one over on your channel, I'll make you look bad.
Good call. Good call.
All right, guys. But before we get too into it, because it is a live stream, we have to do the thing, and we have the trophy of apathy, the Funicorn.
0 fucks given. That is super cool.
Yes. So for those who haven't seen this, actually, I have actually never reviewed it. I just opened it on live stream, and it is my trophy of apathy.
That is so good.
Yes, from Big Shot Toy Works.
Maurice is in the comments. What up?
Yes. Cantina of Transformers. Hello. Now, I fully expect way more people from your side to come over here at this time versus people from my side being able to watch. But if you guys are new, by all means, hit the subscribe button. And guys, I put all of Tim's links down below to his channel, to his IG, to his Facebook. Please go give him a follow. He needs to hit 1,000 subscribers. So we need to make it happen for the man.
That would be very cool. Thank you very much.
Hey, that's weird. You're in the chat.
Yeah, I'm
just kidding.
I'm here, and I'm not schizophrenic.
Yes. It's fine. It's fine, because I'll do that too on my own things, but I'll log into one of my other accounts to sit in the chat.
I just saw I'm actually able to see the comments in here in StreamYard on your side. It's not happening too often that I'm actually on this side in StreamYard. Usually I'm more creative with everything else. So that's weird. So if I want to answer, I need to go to YouTube. So that's why I got the chat cut out.
Yep. But I can also do the thing, I can also just do that and bring it up on the screen.
Yep, that's what we do also. Makes sense.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to fix that real quick because I like the bigger one better. There we go. I like the bigger one better.
Yeah,
it just makes more sense to me. So either way, guys, if you are unfamiliar with the way the Nerdcast one-on-one happens, so am I, because it's been so long since I've done it. The last couple literally were just chatting back and forth. If anybody watched the Uncle Dolphin or Joe KW interview, that was us just rambling for 4 hours, and it was fantastic.
Wow.
And the thing is, we only stopped because we were hungry, and we realized the entire morning had already passed. It was so good. It was so much fun. I love talking to Joe. And then prior to that, I talked to Bobby Skullface and then a few other ones. That was actually one of the better interviews I've ever done. But generally speaking, the way we do this is we each have a personal question. We each have a nerd or hobby question. And then we'll have a general topic of discussion from you guys if we can. If we can cram that in, because like I said, after we're done here, we're going to go live on his channel. So make sure if you want to follow the conversation, you click that subscription link down below and follow us over there to Tim's channel when we're done here. So,
that sounds good.
Didn't I review the 52 Toys Joe Jobs thing a long time ago? Yes, I did. Thank you. I have reviewed many 52 Toys things. And in fact, and I wanted to bring this up with you when we were talking about views and stuff, the other day. My 52 Toys stuff, I'm thinking because they're advertising a lot more, it has those reviews, even recent ones, have been blowing up. So, where a brand new review might only get 100 views on it in like a week or two, my older ones are getting several hundred views. So people are just now finding out about 52 Toys, about Beastbox and stuff like that. And I guess because I've done so many of them, they're they're popping up at with search bars, and yay for me. Because I've seen other reviewers do them, like much more prolific reviewers do them, and like nobody seems to care because they have no idea what they are. So, but I appreciate.
Yeah, I would love to. I would actually love to check those out. Like I love the Devastator ones I saw. They did a few animal things. They look really good, but I have no way to grab hold, know where to get them. It's weird. Like some things in Germany are easy to be are actually easy to be grabbing hold of, but like Masters, but the 52, no one carries them over here. It's weird.
Yeah, and they're not in store here. They're all online purchases. So there's got to be somewhere to be able to pick those up, or at least order them for you. Wait, does Robot Kingdom deliver to you guys or anything like that?
I believe every store delivers everywhere, so that's not a problem. The real problem is to get stuff over here and see if they get hit with VAT and with customs.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Europe, the whole VAT thing. Just real quick, if you don't mind, I did receive a box this morning.
Oh,
so I wanted to open this up on the live stream. Normally, I do my in the kitchen videos, if people are familiar, where I open all my new stuff in the kitchen with a terrible accent. It used to be British, and now I'm not sure what it's actually supposed to be. But it was a Pulse. A Pulse order actually came in. That's amazing. And I got no shipping notification or anything. I got a notification that it's on its way to be delivered. Like, good. I'm glad.
Usually Pulse stuff takes its sweet time.
And it is the new metallic Pink Ranger with the Catherine head. So that's interesting.
These Lightning editions look pretty sweet.
Sometimes, if you follow my reviews as of late, I'm having to point out a lot of the flaws. Joe Jobs is available on AF24.
Action Figure Films Fancy. Okay, yeah, that's a German store. I gotta check that. Maybe I'll grab hold of those. I got a lot of shit going on. I got behind me. I got the Mechanic Studio Flame Commander, the Legends Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime. I got that gifted due to my last few things, and I got a metric fuck ton of those to review.
Yes. So if you like the Motu stuff, guys, he's going to be doing that currently.
Yep.
You said you spent a lot of time yesterday. Okay, what's really weird is this looks mostly like the original Pink Ranger thing, but you can see they've embedded glitter all over the box. So I'm just imagining that's going to be on my hands at some point.
You will never get rid of it.
It doesn't seem to be coming loose, though, but we'll see. That is actually an incredibly good head sculpt, so this counts as an out-the-box review. The only reason I got this is just mostly for the head sculpt. I could care less about the metallic body, okay, so the previous ones, when they did metallics in the Legacy line a few years ago, I don't remember them being very translucent. They just sort of added a little bit of metallic sheen to it. This is a semi-translucent pink body with metal flake, silver instead of white, and it just looks funky. Oh well, cool. I'll set that aside so I can review her later. I still have. Oh, speaking of things, since we mentioned the 52 toys, this is a teaser for people, and so this is one of their newest. It's like
Tornado, okay.
Torado, and it's a
Torado. It looks like Fella Saber.
Yep, and it's got it's like a saber-toothed cat with wings. So that's one of the newest molds. I just got that in. I did not do a video for that unboxing, so that's a teaser for everybody who's here. And plus, we're just trying to kill time, hoping people show up. So it's all good. I shared the link everywhere. If people don't show up, it's because they're jerks.
either that or the time is just bad, you know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's 1:25 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What is that? It's a kitty cat. It's a saber-toothed cat with wings, apparently, and it's not even the only one they have. They have a very Leo Kaiser kind of version coming later, sort of. but on a similar mold, but more of a lion, less of a tiger. And then he's got guns on his back. So they're really doing a lot. Their Chinese dragon that's coming is ridiculous. It's very long, lanky, and it still folds up into a box. So that one's coming. I've got that on pre-order. It's one of the more exciting lines that I've stumbled across and like nobody knows about. It's so
that's also the fun part. Like a lot of people actually don't know that Masters of the Universe is back in store. I mean, with Origins, but it's updated and it's those are loaded with accessories.
Yeah,
they are really good. And yesterday I was on an offline hangout with Jason Lowry and a few guys, and I unboxed the Sky Sled. That thing is intense, like flight stand and everything. It works amazing.
Yeah, so I don't have any of them, but I've basically had to buy them for people elsewhere. So I've had to send the Battle Cat to a few people. I sent the Sky Sled to Nate Simmons because he couldn't find it anywhere in California. And he really wanted that Prince Adam mold as well, because it's the only way you can get Prince Adam is with the Sky Sled. Right. It's a cool line. I mean, like I had Motu figures when I was a kid, and you know they basically didn't have much articulation, maybe up and down arms at best.
They had up and down arms, and they had up and down legs. They were even able to do the split. They had like this little rubber band thingy with ball packs at the end, and that way you could able to stretch them and everything.
I remember
waist swivel, but that was about it. But those guys have.
It was basically 5 points.
Ratcheted shoulders. They have a bicep swivel. They have an elbow bend. The ball pack on the hand. This thing is loaded. You can really pose them into a running pose, like really charging into battle. Like this is what those guys were probably in the mind of the creators back then.
It's what they wish they could have done back in 1985.
100%. I'm pretty sure of it.
And what the classics, the Motu classics, were great. Because you know, new sculpt, but very modern and all that kind of stuff. Not to mention super hard to get a hold of. And then this comes along at mass retail, looks like what we grew up with, but functions like a modern toy. And that's kind of what we should. Yeah, exactly. Like 5 POA. It's exactly what they were back in the day. Just the arms could go up and down, no elbows, no outward movement. Legs could do the splits, like you were saying, because the wrestler figures basically did the same thing back then too.
But they had a different kind of also deluxe feel. They had like the flocking, the felt flocking on the west of Adam and on the whole Battle Cat. I mean, Battle Cat back then that was just a chunk of cat with wool fat on top of it, and that was it. And you could like knee. You could do that. But this guy is also loaded with accessories, articulation. I'm really looking forward to those.
I have one criticism of the modern Battle Cat, and that its head is too slim. Like they made it too slim and too slick to fit inside the helmet. So it takes away some of the more prominence that he has, or provenance he has in the original. So like he should have more of a poofy tiger face, but he doesn't. It's very slick back, more like a panther, so that it will go inside that helmet.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out soon. I don't know when, but I think I'm going to do that every other week. I'm going to do first with Tila and Man at Arms, and then I'm going to do Bad Guys, and then maybe something big of a change, and then so mix it up a little bit. Just not go in. Okay, here you got He-Man. You got Skeleton.
I do have a question. I do have a question for you regarding the Battle Cat. And it's something that someone else brought up, but I haven't seen anybody try yet. Do you have the Masterpiece Tigatron?
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure, because it looks like Battle Cat's armor might fit onto Masterpiece Tigatron in beast mode.
Why would you want that? I mean, I get the notion
because it's weird. Because it's weird. That's why. But the fact that new Battle Cat is so large, it's actually almost the same size, but I haven't seen anybody actually do it. And I believe it was Imgo that brought it up, but he couldn't get a Battle Cat where he lives.
I mean, it is a few weeks until I do the Battle Cat review. You can send me over your Tigatron and I would try it.
Someone send Tim a Tigatron. You can connect with him online. He'll send you his address so that you can send him a free Tigatron.
That's a good idea.
Knockoff or not, it doesn't matter. Either way,
Anyway,
so let's get rolling. I guess we'll have as many people as we have, so it's all good. And of course, like I said, this is a kind of a back and forth questions between us, and we start out with personal questions. And due to politeness, the guest gets to go first.
okay. So the question I thought up is, we of course are collecting for quite a while already, but sometimes that stuff just starts way back in school. So my question for you is,
Mhm.
I mean, that's also a mix. You said personal question first and then nerd question, but I do a personal nerd question.
Okay, I understand. I got you.
So, how old are you now, if I may?
37.
37. Wow, I did not think you would be younger than me.
Yeah, I told you we're getting old, Tim.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
I knew you were at least a little bit older than me. I didn't
I
know
mean, you see
exactly.
that here, you know?
Yeah,
This is,
I have gray everywhere. I keep trimming the gray out of the beard. See, look, you can see
yeah,
how gray I am.
that I'm not doing that, but it's great on
Um,
the side. But,
I noticed
but
how you're going very silver fox. I've noticed.
I'm going like total Reed Richards Magneto kind of shit. Let's keep it cool. But
Yes.
yeah, my question is, did you collect like forever at a certain pace all the time ever since back from school, or were you like in school as a kid stuff with He-Man and Transformers and everything, and then there was kind of a cut where kind of maybe also your parents maybe said, okay, now you gotta get a job, you gotta get everything, and then you kind of re-experienced everything and built your collection now from there.
It's actually kind of funny because you sort of answered the question for me, and within your question, you answered. It's something I have discussed before because when you're a kid, you don't necessarily think of collecting as a thing you do. It's
That's
just a
true.
thing that happens to you. Generally speaking, you're not in charge of the things you get as a child. Generally, it's like, okay, you like this series, your parents buy it for you, or because they need to get you something, they're just like, this looks cool, we'll give it to them and see if it sticks.
Yeah,
So as a child, I had a kind of motley collection of 80s toys.
me too.
Transformers, GI Joe, Motu, Thundercats, the big five, so to speak.
Yeah.
um
No
Ninja
Brave
Turtles.
Star or Saber Rider?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't even
Damn.
know what that is, so no.
You don't know what
Offhand.
you know Marshall Bravestar, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, but no,
And you know Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs.
that I don't. Marshall Bravestar.
Wow, what?
So Bravestar, I am very vaguely connected to. I would recognize it if I saw it, but I never saw the show. I don't believe I ever saw the toys. So
Okay, cool.
that was outside of my experience.
Okay.
Just knowing of it. Like, I'm more familiar with Silverhawks than Bravestar, and
Okay.
I'm only at the very surface level of Silverhawks.
Okay.
I did have a couple Silverhawk toys. Um,
Okay.
so like I said, it was like just it was like pick and choose these certain things, and then as I grew older, of course, latch more onto Transformers, latch a little bit less onto uh Motu figures, things like
Gotcha.
that. So those things, while they stay in the quote unquote collection, i.e. the toy box, um they don't grow. So I would get more Transformers definitely as I grew up. And then in
Yeah.
the 90s, when Power Rangers became a thing,
Fucking kidding.
um that was the next big thing I definitely actively started collecting.
Okay.
So that's when I started to have my own money. I had allowance, things like that. So what I would do is I would be shopping for Power Ranger toys, whether that was figures or the Zords more specifically. So I would be buying the deluxe Megazords as they came out. I would save up for a while, go to Toys R Us, the
Mhm.
occasional Walmart, and I would buy the Megazords I wanted. Starting, and I was just past the original Mighty Morphin era, so I picked up in the Thunder, so the Thunder Megazord, things like that, and then from there on out, never got the Ninja Megazord, but I had the Shogun Megazord. I had the Falcon Zord, which was the third one I bought ever.
Okay.
And up until a couple years ago, I still had my original stuff. I think part of collecting also, the part of it also stays, if it stays with you versus you can let it go after a while. So
Yeah.
for me as an adult, still having my childhood toys in good condition in box, at least at least stored in box, not kept in box, stored in box, because I found when I wanted something to retain and be in better condition, I'd put it back in the box when I got tired of it just sitting on the shelf. And
Mhm.
then when I got bored, I'd be like, pull that out for a little bit, play with it for a couple days, and then put it back in box, put it back at the top of the closet. And so Power Rangers were the first thing I actively collected. And then sports cards, baseball, basketball, things like that. And then
90s,
from the
90s
huh,
upper deck Chicago Bulls.
there you go. So I had a lot of upper deck stuff. That was definitely not something I maintained, but it was something I was definitely into for quite some time. In fact, literally right there on the very top of my closet is my old collection, still in the same binder,
Wow. Cool.
including my original Pokemon cards. My original Pokemon cards from
See that?
the
See, that's interesting that you said you have a very shallow connection to Bravestar, way more to Silverhawks, but you
yeah.
got a full Pokemon collection. I never got into
Well,
Pokemon.
I wouldn't say full, but it was something I did start into because it was when Pokemon first got big, and someone brought up the game, like it was the playing
Mhm.
cards, and I was like, I'll try it. If nothing else, it's a cool
Mhm.
representation of Pokemon. I already play the games, I already watch the shows. So let's see. And then I was never good at the game, but I liked the cards, so I collected them for a little while. Nothing crazy. I was much
Mhm.
more into Yu-Gi-Oh than that. So it was one of the only games I actively collected and played. But yeah, I think that it starts with the influence of your parents, depending
Yeah.
on the current pop icon type situation. And then whatever sticks with your personality turns into a collection later due to nostalgia in a lot of ways. That's why
That's
Transformers has never gone away.
that is true. But that's interesting that you say that, or that you would say that, because my parents gave me no influence on toys. They gave me
Mhm.
influence on the music.
Okay.
Like I only had like music wise, I listened to all that old stuff like Queen, Fleetwood Mac, Deep Purple, Bachman Turner Overdrive, and those things. A lot of old school things. And from there, also then when I was driving in my dad's truck with him,
Mhm.
I was riding with him. Also the Black album from Metallica. So there are certain things that imprinted on me too,
Mhm.
but nothing in terms of toys. Like toys to me, what you said were like Masters of the Universe and that kind of, I don't know, random collection that we had, also Playmobil and Lego. And
Oh,
I
I
think,
left out Lego. I still love Lego, and I had lots of Lego as a kid, but I
yeah.
don't actively collect it anymore unless it's one of these cool sets. Like I have my Lego Wally up here at the top, along with my Lego Big Bang Theory living room set.
Oh, cool.
Um, but
Yeah, I
those are
got
like
I
the
got I
last
got
things I
two
bought.
sets. I got two sets too. A few years back I bought the UCS tumbler.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And a few months ago, I bought the charger. It's because I needed that
That's cool.
the Technic charger. That's just beautiful. But otherwise, what you said with the collection, having it in box, I got it in totes in the
Hmm.
attic, and
Yep.
the condition is horrible. I was one
Dude.
of those kids that put marker to his toys and just
Yeah.
added extra paint. And today I'm
Oh,
like,
so you were customizing when you were a kid.
uh don't call it customizing.
Customizing.
The bastard child of customization.
Hey, if you thought it needed something, you'd go to it. Now, I remember doing that, but I also would once my uncle got me into model building, I started doing some custom paint jobs to my old Hot Wheels. Nothing
Oh, okay.
crazy, but I would recolor one. So I had it was a pink color change 85 Trans Am Firebird or Firebird Trans Am
Okay.
for whatever reason. So I repainted that black and put a little red light bar right up at the front of the grill because I wanted a version of Kit that did not exist.
Of course.
Now the paint chipped off like crazy because it was just real crappy enamel paint that I applied to this thing, but I loved it and I kept it forever. But speaking of keeping things in storage totes and not taking care of them, that's what my mom did with a lot of my stuff from a kid or from being a kid. She just boxed it all up and she either put it in the attic or out in the garage. And so years later, I'm looking for something very specific that I know I never let go of. And I'm asking my mom, I was like, hey, this was in my closet. Where did it go? She's like, well, since we started moving stuff out of the closet, hey, Jack of Blades.
Oh, hey, dude.
Since they started moving stuff out of there, I found out she had boxed up a ton of stuff and thrown it out in the garage. And this is Texas. You don't put stuff out in the garage that you want to hold on to. You put stuff out there that can handle the heat. So I found my old Ronin Warriors figures from the late 90s, early 2000s, and all of the soft plastic became hard and brittle. And depending on how it was laying, some of the armor was just completely deformed and discolored. And I'm like, well, this is all trash. Thanks, Mom. However, Sentinel decided to give us the new versions, so I can live with it now. It's like, I mean, it cost me $130 now, but much better representation. But yeah, no, I think that when it comes to collecting, if it was something you started with as a kid, it's gonna make a difference in your head now if you have money and time and a place to put it. Hence why I have a wall of Transformers over here, and then Ninja Turtles, Back to the Future, and then Batman stuff over here. It's like, oh, hey, all of these things were influential. These are just modern versions of said things.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Power Rangers, which is about to be expanded out to 3 full shelves of Billies sometime soon. And that's just the stuff I can afford to buy. So it's like when I get to the point that I have things that I need to buy and I need to save money for, it'll get even better. But okay, so Motu has their new stuff, and now the Thundercats has Super 7 creating these new, really fantastic figures. Really capitalizing on those 80s kids. I passed up on the figures.
Me too.
Even though they look fantastic.
Like we had the topic yesterday. I think it was Brian Brink who said that you guys pay $45 for the Super 7 Thundercats figures.
Yeah.
And we pay another 20 on top, like from a usual shop.
Yeah.
And for those usual 6-inch figures, I don't pay $65. Not one bit.
No, that's pushing it too far.
Way
far. And I had this discussion with Joe because for me, an action figure is just a statue that you can move.
Essentially.
For the most part, you're just going to put it on the shelf in one pose and leave it that way forever. And you're going to be stuck with all the accessories, whatever they might be. You got to store them somewhere if you can't display them. So literally, like this right here, this is a tub of spare hands and other accessories that I keep. I'm sure you have something very similar.
No,
I bet it's more. Oh yeah, you got like a Sortimo almost. That's overkill. But you to be fair, you have a lot more spare stuff with your Hot Toys figures and things like that than I do.
Yes, but also there are also Transformer stuff and Storm Collectibles accessories in there.
Oh, and I've got NECA, all my NECA Ninja Turtles and Back to the Future leftover accessories stay in their boxes, and those just go in the closet. But what I was getting to, so I can have these things that I will put on a shelf and never touch again, except for when I need to move them for putting more on, or I can spend almost the same money and just get the kick-ass statues. So that's what I opted for.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not a statue guy. I don't get the appeal of statues.
Yeah. I've become a statue guy because of the Dark Knight's Metal statues that I already had that I bought.
Mhm.
That started me down that path. Then instead of buying Naruto figures, I'm buying the Naruto statues. And then when they're lit up nice, like I have them, they look fantastic. So for me, if I'm only ever going to put it on the shelf and it's never really going to move, it may as well be made to do that and have really nice paint, light up features,
Mhm.
translucent parts,
Mhm.
stuff like that, and just make it a piece for you to come and look at, and one that in general isn't going to tip over if somebody sneezes too hard.
That's a good point, actually. I mean, you're true on that. But the thing is, you said that you don't repose your stuff. I do. I got all my figures, and every once in a while, I like to repose them. But on the
Yep.
statues, you
Yep.
fit to that pose. That's it. Done.
That's when you buy another statue and a different pose of the same
But
character.
that's the thing. I couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
Like let's say Prime 1, 1,500 for one piece. I couldn't do that. How the
No.
fuck are you supposed to do that? It's just,
I don't know, because I haven't bought one that expensive. For me, mine are in the 70 to 150 range, which is much more manageable. Although I've looked at some of those Prime 1 statues, and there's a couple that the trigger finger just like didn't want to.
it was itching.
Like, hold on, let me empty out the credit card, and that will be the one thing I buy next year. That's what it is. That's what it'll come into. Also, the what is that other one? That Imaginarium Arts. Those Transformer statues are insane and massive. You've seen the ones Bobby's gotten.
I don't know. I'm not too happy about those. When I saw the Soundwave statue on Bobby's channel,
yeah,
like how the way it's assembled, and it's supposed to click into place with a magnet
held into place.
It's wobbling around in there. This is supposed to have a snug fit and be really fixed in there.
To be fair, that particular thing, that is a problem on that one. But I think that in that case, the excuse might be that that's the special edition, and that one part is a different, like it's a different than normal part, so it have to be made to go into that specific hole. That might be the defense of that problem, because he said, I think like most of it was solid, but that one spot had a really wonky fit.
Okay.
That's my defense of that incredibly expensive minor problem he's got. But like there are definitely statue people, and then there are definitely figure people, and then there's like people like me who are in between. And there's nothing wrong with it by any means. But say I've got my city bots up here, and I've got them in a battle pose, and I've got my combiners up here also in a battle pose. I don't really plan on messing with them. So if it were possible to have what is essentially a diorama come in a box, then it makes sense for me personally, and I think a lot of people out there. I'm not saying you're wrong for what you like, obviously, because I mess with some of my stuff and repose them every now and then, just depending on if there's a new collection, if there's somebody, like say they need to be fighting or things like that. I totally appreciate that. Like, I'm going to redo my Power Rangers shelf and actually have them in poses different than they currently are, because now I have a collection that's complete, or I have monsters for them to be fighting. But prior to this, they're all just standing on the shelf holding their weapons in a very minor pose.
That's also what they're mostly doing on mine. Like, I got my RoboCop stuff here a little bit specially played out. I got the Transformers here in the battle pose. Market Toys currently, the Meteor is not really in pose, but usually it's all some kind of pose, and they're sticking to it in 80 to 90% of the cases. But I like to repose every once in a while, just having that option, especially on Hot Toys or anything.
I get you on the Hot Toys, because those kind of need to be, like you can change those up effectively, and you may even swap out like a jacket, or swap out a hand that's got a different weapon. Like, if I had the money, I would have a Hot Toys Iron Man collection, because they're just ridiculous. And I just think they're gorgeous, especially some of the newer like redos that aren't just fancy repaints of ones that we've already gotten.
Like the War Machine 2.0 in die-cast. That's just almost a totally different figure. I got that.
Divided Pixel says, did I hear that 52 Toys is retiring the old D10 model? I knew that they would eventually get rid of the original D10 because they have the 1.5 and now the 2.0 that's coming, which is a like super deluxe, like armored version. So I figured they would at some point get rid of their very first mold that they did. I've been reaching out to them trying to get them to send me stuff, and they have not responded. It's like I'm a big fan and I'm out here marketing for you guys. It's like send me some stuff. All right, so
that's also very hard to get people to send you stuff like for reviews. I like, let's say Storm Collectibles. I approached Storm Collectibles numerous times, and you won't get a hold of these guys. I don't know how The Amazing does it.
Oh yeah, The Amazing's crazy. Yeah, so obviously Cantina Transformers says with statues, I think all the fun of posing is gone. I agree, but I think there's some where the body is mostly fixed, but they may become with swappable arms, so they can have a different weapon or a different arm. I think those are a weird in between that seems to be okay. Like I think that Prime One Optimus had a couple different arm options, like one up, one with the gun, one with the axe, stuff like that. So you could alter the statue to some degree, so it's not 100% fixed. He wants a army build the 1.5 D10s before they're gone. Okay. All right. So let me move on to my question for you, since we are blowing through this first hour so quickly.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So I went a different route with my question, but that's okay. Like I said, we sort of threw this together very quickly. Didn't have a whole lot of time to think. So 2020 has been a shitstorm of a year for the world.
Amen.
And you in particular, you've had a pretty rough year in your personal life.
True.
And I think it's really hard for all of us to not feel isolated and depressed on any given day. And sometimes some days are worse than others. So my question is, which is more helpful for getting you through these hard times? The realm of collectors or your cat?
That's a very easy question. That's my cat. Or okay. more prominently, or 50-50. My I don't know. My dedication shifted a little bit. I will always be realm because I have a lot of through the realm. So there's that. But with my buddy Dan and what we do with the Collector's Bay, with our shop, with the Transformers fan group Germany, with our podcast Voice of Chaos, that is actually what keeps me afloat. Like these 3 hours of Voice of Chaos on Mondays, like a pre-hangout, and then the show itself where Cantina is always in there and answers questions. And just for a quick shout out, that dude has a medical condition. He's almost blind, and he still entered our little photo contest last week.
Oh, wow.
So kudos to that man. He's super cool. Very nice, cool, good friend. And we talk a lot. And so that actually, those 3 hours a lot. And then when I speak to Dan, what we do on the Collector's Bay, which new shit to get, what we might change up, what we can do now also with a little bit of a Santa Claus / Saint Nicholas.
The secret Santa.
Yeah, and then also with a little bit of a discount action we got currently going on. Then with a few rules set and stuff with our group on Facebook and everything, there's so much stuff that you got your mind always occupied. And then I'm also packing the orders and getting those away and getting outside. So there are certain things that actually happen that keep my mind rather healthy, I would say. I mean, sometimes it piles up. Everybody knows it. It happens. You can't stay afloat all the time. It always, it comes, but it's not all the time. But that's actually what helps. And then also Saturday meetups with Jason Lowry and people of the realm also. But that's a little bit on the back burner since let's be fair, the just the hangouts from the realm of collectors have also gotten a little bit of a back burner. It's now a little bit more shows and a little bit less personal, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I still talk to a few of those guys. I don't tend to tune into the shows because I'm usually busy whenever they're live. But
I'm
I think,
usually asleep.
yeah, and I believe that like the very first time that I even talked to you was through one of the unaired hangouts on
Right.
on a Tuesday or a Monday, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed that because like for me, I don't get to see a lot of my collector friends at all,
Me neither. Yeah.
and I know a lot of these guys, and they're from all over. Now, some have gone in weird directions with what's been going on in this year.
Mhm.
So I don't really talk to them anymore. Hopefully things can change in the future. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Because good Lord, nobody knows what the future holds right now in this country in particular.
I know what it
But
holds for my country. Next week in Germany, there will be a hard lockdown. A lot of shops will actually close down, and
yeah,
so we will be stuck in our apartments a while harder until
yeah.
Christmas, and actually, I believe until January 21st of next year.
Damn. Yeah, they're doing the same thing here in a few states. Other states are like, there's no point in doing that. We've done that. It doesn't work.
There's no
So,
corona.
huh?
There's no
Well,
corona.
we don't
That's
do that. We're not that. Well, most of us are not that stupid, and that's an unfair stereotype, Tim. How dare you, sir?
How dare you, sir?
Hey, there are those wackos out there who think it's all a hoax.
Yeah.
Except that my uncle just died of it last week. So fuck those people who think it's fake. But
100%.
that being said, there's a big divide between people and a big divide between countries and states and everything like that. Now, just things are very divided, and having the ability to leave our divisions behind and be able to actually sit down and talk again about the things we love instead of the things we hate is something we all need. And
Absolutely.
I think there's too much of the other and not enough of what we actually should be doing. And
Yeah.
like, I've got friends who are on either end of the aisle or people who are just wherever, it doesn't matter. And some of them we can sit down and chat like nothing has ever happened or
Yeah.
nothing's going on in the world. Other ones, there's nothing more that we can do but bullshit and be angry at what is happening that we have no control over, or the things that we should have control over, but they say we can't. It's a giant mess, or as my old boss would put it, it's one big shit sandwich and we all have to take a bite. So
I don't have the appetite for a shit sandwich.
that's the problem, is it's the only thing to eat. It's like there's nothing but a shit sandwich, and it's just like, well, you can either just kind of nibble at the crust and hope you don't get any of the shit, or you just say fuck it and you bear down until we get through the shit sandwich together. It's like
essentially what my cat does when she doesn't want to eat what's in her little bowl. She's like,
yeah, literally just look at the edge of it and look up at you like, this is the garbage you're gonna feed me.
I licked it a little. Is that good now? Is that okay now? Can I have something different now, asshole?
Said everyone in California. Anyways, hey, look, my heart goes out to the people in California who are going through shit that other people aren't because they have idiots in charge.
Good call.
And actually, that goes for everybody in the world. There are idiots in charge all over the place who keep making the same decision and hoping for a different outcome. I think there's there's an actual meaning. There's a word for that. Performing the same action over and over, expecting a different result. Somebody look up what that is. Anyways.
Oh, I actually knew that one. Now you got me off the guard. Shit.
It's insanity, Tim. It's called insanity. So when we say it's an insane world, we literally mean it. So
that's true. That's true.
Oh, what is your cat's name, by the way? I think that seemed to go over my head. I missed it.
Her cat, her name is Lily.
Lily. Okay.
Lily,
it's a cute cat. I see your pictures. Such a cute cat.
Yeah, she can be annoying. Currently, she's a little bit annoying. Currently, she only like the crunchies and not the actual wet munchies. So when I put both there, then the dry crunchies are usually gone. She just inhales them, and the other shit is just sitting there until it's all smushy and really nice and and thorough and everything. And then she starts to eat it, but I'm always like, that's your fault. You shouldn't have to let it sit there for days. That's not my problem.
But Daddy, I wanted the other food. Now you
Yeah.
eat the food that's there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is still, you can essentially say you still got your feet under my table, young lady. So you eat that.
That's funny. You're a good cat. You're a good cat dad then.
I would say so, like in the 75 to 80% vicinity, somewhere like that, maybe. Not all the time, but I'm trying my best. I mean, next weekend is planned that I go down to Den for a little bit chilled weekend, just his family and me, and I got my dad to look over my cat. So yeah, she's not alone. Good. I think she got a good life.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you get to go hang out with Dan. You need some hangout time.
I need to get out of this place. I love this room and everything, and I love the YouTube work, like with switching back to German. That reinvigorated everything. I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. But I just need to get out of here. I really need to get out of here.
Yeah. Actually, I'll use what you just said to actually segue into my other question for you.
Okay.
Just because you said that. So since you are bilingual and you have recently decided to return to German only on your channel, in your reviews and stuff, is there any particular property such as Motu, Transformers, or anything of the like that is easier or harder to talk about in either language? Like, is there a language barrier in some cases where you're like, it's easier to say it in German or easier to say it in English, depending on the property?
That's funny that you should ask. The thing is, yes and no. Transformers is usually a little bit harder just because when I do the transformation sequence and you have to do that step and also really have to think during that step, is that now just a usual joint? Is it a ball joint? Is it a swivel? Is it a tilt or a pivot or something like that? Yeah. Also, short question. Is it pivot or pivot?
Pivot.
Because I heard people from Canada say pivot.
That's just Canadian accent.
Okay, interesting. Pivot, got it.
Yeah.
Although pivot sounds interesting.
Pivot sounds like an action, actually sounds like a very different type of action.
Yeah,
sounds like something you would do in the bathroom. Let's just be honest. I have to go take a pivot. It sounds like a Russian word for shit. Like,
didn't think about that. Interesting point though. So yeah, during transformations, otherwise pretty much it's all actually the same. And especially now I switched back to German, but I learned all those words pretty much through reviews, like from Bobby Skullface. So I'm still using things like ball joint and swivel and rocker, and because it just makes more sense because a rocker in Germany, that doesn't make sense for a foot.
So how in German, how do you use the verb combiner wars like Bobby would when you combiner wars a leg? Like, what? It's like, how does that translate to German?
Actually, it doesn't. I just take the word and build it in and put it inside the sentence.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I mean, watching some of the more watching you do things in German, one, it's very interesting on my end because I can in some ways understand. My family is of Eastern European descent, so there's a lot of Slavic, there's a lot of there's some language connection between that and my family's originally from the Ukraine. And my mother, in fact, was born in Germany back in the 50s. So
does she still speak German, or is it pretty much gone?
Yes and no. Like, can understand. She speaks Ukrainian fluently, can understand a lot of those Slavic based languages, but obviously there's some changes here and there. But they didn't grow up here. Like, she was born there and then they immigrated to America then. So post war, when everything was a giant mess. So my grandparents were from there directly, from original Ukraine. And then were enslaved by the Nazis, unfortunately. And then my mother was born in Nazi-controlled Germany at the time before they immigrated to here. So
Oh,
So they had some kids, and then they moved here. My mother was an infant at the time. So, but understanding she grew up in the languages. So, they had their community in Houston where everybody spoke Ukrainian or some German or anything along those lines. So,
I mean, there's a lot of genetic mixture in yoga blood anyway. I mean, there's I don't know, in a few percentages, like you said, you got Ukrainian, a few got Irish, and then also Spanish, Italian. There's a lot of mixture going on in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like 100% pure-blooded American from today's standpoint doesn't really even exist, I believe.
No, that's not a thing that even exists anywhere, anyways. Because there's going to be, well, also my father's side is from Sweden initially, so, but I have way more exposure to the Eastern European side of my family because the Swedish family was here so much earlier. So that went back to like the 1800s. So they were fairly well settled, much more Americanized long before my dad came along. And then, my mother's side came here straight from the old country. So, so very, very different class. So very American family integrated into a very European family to turn into the giant cluster we have now. Because my mother had 11 siblings.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a cluster of a family. That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's old school. That's old country style. You got to have all the kids. Yeah, it's like big family.
The fun part is I'm a lonely child. I was born in 81, so you should think that I should have also more siblings. But my parents pretty much decided back then, nope, one's enough.
Yep. Hey, I'm an only child to my mother. My dad's fourth. So I have three half siblings.
You're still not alone.
But I grew up alone because they were a generation ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up an only child because my siblings were a whole generation ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah, so very different way of growing up.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that.
When I was born, my sister was in her late teens, early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a generational gap. I grew up with my nieces and nephews. So it's really strange. I was an uncle when I was born. So my sister would have had to have been in her 20s. My oldest brother had already had his first child, who was a early teenager when I was born. So I used to be babysat by my niece.
That's funny. That essentially brings us back to Nerdcrate. Isn't it always interesting that a lot of nerds were so infuriated that Aunt May is turning younger and younger and younger from each Spider-Man movie? But when I think about an aunt, my aunt actually on the mother's side, she was pretty much more like in age and appearance, like what Marissa Tomei looks like in Homecoming and Far From Home, and not like that. I mean, it's a lovely old lady. She played the character lovely, but that was essentially more a grandma, not an aunt.
She's not the old Aunt May that we had previously.
Yeah, but that to me, the newer Aunt May makes way more sense in my head.
In a modern day, it does, and it makes sense to have a younger aunt. Even though if we're talking about it, Marissa Tomei is I think in her 50s, doesn't look it. Because just remember, she started out in porn and then became an actress. So her original gig was I think she believes she did one porn film and then became a legit actress.
Okay, Kevin, I had a good time. See you soon, man.
Gotta go find that on the internet somewhere. So no, she started out very early days and doing some porn and then became an actual actress and still mostly looks the same 30 years later.
Wow. Okay. Crazy. Interesting.
Now she's Peter Parker's hot aunt.
Yeah. Tony Stark's secret crush.
Hold on. Let's make this really weird for a second.
Uh-oh.
You now have a multi-generational woman or I'm sorry, let me put it this way. You have an actress who has now been jerked off to by both the father and the son because she's been around so long, except the father did it when she was young and the son is doing it when she's old, but she's still hot.
So
like I said, we're making it weird.
there goes one on top. So she doesn't sleep around, she acts around.
I guess so. Okay, so Androius wants to know what the age gap between my parents is. I believe it's like my dad was 50 when I was born, and my mom was in her early 30s. So it's not quite a 20-year gap, but I think it's about 18.
Wow.
I think it's about 18 years because my dad is 87 and my mom is in her early 70s.
My parents were 3 years apart, so that's way more healthy. They also weren't separated or anything in between. So
yeah, and to be fair, my dad's ex-wife was his age, so they were of the same age, and my mom came along. So my dad's ex-wife had been cheating on him, and then in that time, my dad met my mom.
Okay.
And the relationship began, and then the divorce happened, and then my parents got together. So
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a big gap, obviously, but like I said, I grew up with my nieces and nephews, my second cousins on my dad's side. So my first cousins were older, but they were all older. So I grew up with their kids. So I grew up with my cousins' kids as my direct cousins. My nieces and nephews were mostly my age. I only have a handful of nieces and nephews that are younger. I now have great nieces and nephews. So I'm 37 and I already have a whole generation behind me of my nieces and nephews' kids.
I even got a grand cousin. I got a grand cousin.
Grand cousin. How does that work?
Grand cousin works in that way that it's the daughter of my father's cousin.
I think that's a second cousin twice removed. I think is how that works. I get how you're saying it, but I think that's the way we refer to it.
That could be the case, but
because it's your dad's cousin's daughter.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not almost zero blood relation to you. So that would be a second cousin and then removed by one. So actually, I think that's second cousin once removed. So
that's right.
It's more complicated, but yeah. Oh, hold on. I've talked about this before. Total random fact about my family, and this is not
short idea. How about we cut that short here and we continue?
And we'll go continue it over on your channel too, because we didn't get to your nerd question for me, but that's okay. But I wanted to bring this up just real quick because it's very funny, and then we will go. Okay. So very very weird story about my family's lineage, so to speak. If you go back to the early 1900s, around about turn of the century, in my family, my dad's grandfather, if I remember correctly, he was one of two brothers, and then they married a set of sisters. Then they divorced.
Okay.
And switched. So the brothers married the sisters, and then they each got divorced, and then they married the opposite. And they had kids, and there were kids from both marriages. So they were siblings and cousins. Now there wasn't like brother and sister doing anything. There weren't cousins who did anything, but a swap of marriage, and ended up keeping it in the family, so to speak.
Yeah, I kept it in the family, all right.
But back then, small town, middle of nowhere, that kind of stuff could happen. And like I said, it's not like actual like inbreeding or anything like that. But it's really funny when my mom researched our family tree, and that's what happened. And we're like, wait a minute, because with my dad, his dad married his dead wife's cousin.
Crazy.
So my dad's mom died of cancer, and then his dad married his mom's cousin, and then they had more kids. So he had a couple siblings already, and then now he had cousin brothers, so to speak. So
God.
well, and to make it slightly more complicated, there was already one child initially who married in. So you have one stepbrother married into a couple of other, and then there was children after the fact. So you have step and half siblings. But once again,
my brain hurts.
But like nowadays, like mixed families are nothing new. This is like the earliest days of mixed families.
Yeah, like patchwork. Patchwork is nothing new. That happens overall everywhere. Kind of.
So Andrea says that he also has a younger uncle. That's funny. All right, so guys, we didn't quite get through all of it over here, but that's okay. We're kind of short on time, at least here. But we're going to continue this conversation over on Tim's channel.
That's
and
right.
link is in the description. I'm starting to pick that up. Description down below. And by the way, if any of you are following us over there from my channel, please go subscribe to Tim, because he needs to hit 1,000 fucking subscribers, and it's stupid that he doesn't have it, because he does a lot. He does at least twice as much work as I currently do.
Oh, thanks.
He does not have enough people. Plus, you get to watch him do stuff in German.
That is true. That is true. Sometimes also American. I just switched to English, and now I'm doing English again. So fuck me.
Well, that's my fault, because we set this up before you decided to switch back to German entirely.
That is true.
The other option is you just do your side in German, and I try to make the best of it.
Yeah, you just go, yeah, sure, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, just answer in English.
Just nod and smile the whole time.
I'm sure I could figure out some of it. But all right, guys, make sure you hit the like button down below if you have not. I appreciate anybody who was here watching live. I know it's the middle of the day, but it's evening time over there, and we're being convenient on his side so that we can get more people on his channel to watch. And if you are new here from his channel, hi, welcome in.
Welcome back, in my case, then.
Yeah, welcome back on his channel. See, Cantina says you are the best. Yes. So, guys, yep. So, here in a few minutes, we're going to take a short break, and then we will be live over on the Nerdcrate. I almost said the Nerdcast. I was like, we're going to take the Nerdcast over to the Nerdcrate. Oh, by the way, because I haven't done this in so long, I forgot the Nerdcast motto. So, remember, as always, it doesn't have to make sense. No, damn it, that's the wrong one. Wrong one. That's it. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be loud. That's my third channel. Damn it. Oh, that's what it is. It's like, you may not be a nerd for everything, but everyone is a nerd for something. So that's the Nerdcast.
That's a good one.
That's how long it's been since I've said it. But guys, his channel, about 10 minutes. We'll see you there.
Sounds good.
Ending the broadcast now. Awkward moment where I don't hit the button.